The fundamental purpose of Pearson is to help people to make progress in their lives through learning. We say that and we mean it, and therefore we need a measure, a way of tracking the progress that we're actually making about that central purpose. And this idea of efficacy and the efficacy framework is the way of putting that at the heart of everything we do and holding ourselves to account for that sense of purpose.
Pearson's the world's leading learning company, and we want to be at the heart of the debate about the future of education systems. We want to be at the heart of the debates about the transformation of education systems to improving outcomes, about the transformation of the education system to prepare more people better for the 21st century economy. That's where we need to be, because that's the stuff of what we do.
Education is now at the top of the agenda, both in terms of public policy and actually the spending decisions that have been made by the rapidly growing middle class that we see around the world. And everybody, I think, is now realising that we need to shift from inputs to outcomes.
I think what we've seen over the last 20 or 30 years in education are a number of trends that are relevant here. One is a growing recognition that education systems need to become more effective. In the middle of the 20th century, basically education systems sorted people out. A small proportion went to university and got top professional jobs. Then there were kind of semi-skilled and manual and administrative jobs. And if you got a good basic education, that was enough. What people realised by the end of the 20th century was that isn't good enough for the 21st century. Everybody needs to achieve high standards.
If we want to help every learner, we have to get into the efficacy question. And that question is, can our products and services prove that they have a positive impact on the lives of learners?
So we developed a process called the efficacy review, which is really a consultative, collaborative way of working with teams to understand what elements of efficacy are they delivering today to learners, and what can they do to improve that, to enhance that, to really deliver the outcomes that people are coming to Pearson to achieve.
The efficacy review process encompasses two stages. The first stage is to examine the current state of the product or service. The second stage of the review process involves getting the project team who work on that product or service into a room to establish where they feel the current state of their product or service stands relevant to the efficacy framework. The efficacy framework asks four key questions. 1. What outcomes are we trying to achieve? 2. What evidence do we have to achieve these outcomes? 3. What plans and governance systems do we have in place to deliver these outcomes? And 4. What capacity do we have to deliver these outcomes?
And the studies can vary from qualitative, where we're trying to understand learner engagement, right through to quantitative experiments, where we may take a group and divide them in half and look at whether we can measure the impact of one product or one approach over another. So the end result is, as a learner, when I make a particular mistake, rather than getting a generic piece of advice, I get a piece of advice specific